action.
What a moment!
From all the biggest games.
This is Sports Sound.
Oh, it's a goal!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Another goal!
Very good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us from sun-kissed Celtic Park here as the Hibs players form a guard of honour down below us, either side of the halfway line, with Celtic taking the acclaim of their latest title. Number 55 it is, 4 in a row. They've won 13 of the last 14 Scottish Premiership titles as Callum McGregor leads his team out in between the Hibs 11 that are out there and some of the mascots as well. Hibs players applauding as the Celtic squad make their way out onto the pitch. The 6th meeting between these two this season. Hibs have had the misfortune of being drawn here in both major cup competitions, losing in both as well. Most recently that Scottish Cup quarter-final in March. Disappointing for them. The luck of the draw has certainly not befallen them this campaign. That's all the Celtic players out now. Brendan Rodgers turning to the main stand. He's waving, he's got the thumbs up as well. Things have gone pretty much like clockwork for him again this term. I'm sure the recent results against Rangers will rankle with him, but there can be no denying they are once again the best team easily in Scotland. Just the 4 defeats, but they do come up against a side that inflicted one of those losses on them this season in the shape of Hibernian and that Josh Campbell double at Easter Road. As that Hibs juggernaut continued on its merry way, in many ways it still is. The defeat at Pittodrie 2 weeks ago is a bit of an outlier in what's happened at Easter Road over the course of the last 6 months. It's been wonderful, and they'll feel they deserve 3rd spot, and if they win this one, you just can't see Aberdeen usurping them. The Dons have got Rangers here in this city tomorrow, and Celtic go to Pittodrie on Wednesday before Aberdeen finish at Tannadice. 3 tough fixtures for them. Are they capable of picking up 9 points out of 9 from those ones? Hibs will feel possibly not. So if they win this one and put 6 between them, when you consider the goal difference as well, it would be a requirement for Aberdeen to win those 3 games. But work to do for Hibs. They haven't won here in almost 15 years, since Stokes and Galbraith got the goals in a 2-1 win. So Celtic still heavy favourites, despite the fact they've got the business done. 3 changes for the home team. Schmeichel's back, Trusty and Kuhn are back, Sinisalo, Carter Vickers and Forrest drop out. Schmeichel in goal, Ralston, Trusty, Scales, Taylor, Engels, McGregor, Hatate, Kuhn, Maida and Ida. Maida on 33 goals this season. Ida took his tally to 18 with his equaliser at Ibrox last Sunday. Hibs got back to winning ways last weekend with a comfortable, in the end, 3-1 win at home to Dundee United. Hibs have turned Celtic, which is unusual. At the start of the game, Celtic are going to go from right to left, which is what they normally like to do in the second half of games. Hibs 1 change. Campbell, who got the 2 against Celtic in their win at Easter Road, in for Hoylett, Smith and goal, O'Hara, Bushiri, Iredale, Chris Cadden, Triantis, Levitt, Abita, Boyle, Campbell, Kukarevich. Hibs in their change colours and wearing the black armbands in memory of Sir Tom Farmer, who passed away earlier today. Took over the reins at the club in the early 90s all the way through to 2019 when he sold up to the Gordon family. And you consider all the work he did to preserve Hibernian during the Wallace-Mercer takeover speculation back in those early 1990s. As referee Colin Stephen gets the game underway, Celtic, as I say, unusually in the first half, shooting right to left towards the Jock Stein stand in the green and white hoops. Hibs in their change colours, the striped shirts with the green and purple, as that's bowled back to Hatate from a throw-in from Taylor to Scales, who goes back to Kasper Schmeichel, who's back in the reckoning, Packy Bonner, at the right time with that Scottish Cup final coming up a fortnight today.
Yeah, and listening to Brendan Rodgers before the game, obviously he had a reason, a strategy behind it, that he would give him a game today, leave him out midweek, give him another game just to get him back. And he's desperate, of course, to come through this game and be ready for that final. And he's had a good season, Schmeichel. He's been part of the team throughout that whole winter period. Sinisalo's gone in, did okay. We've got to say he could be one for the future to replace Schmeichel, but here's a ball through to Schmeichel has just come and taken.
Yeah, his first touch actually was to put it straight in the touch on this near side. Packy Bonner alongside Liam McLeod here on BBC Radio Scotland Extra, 810 medium wave and on digital. Open all mics over on the other frequency on FM as Ralston picks up on the far side, up onto the halfway line for Hatate, who finds McGregor, who finds Scales. Sometimes familiarity can breed contempt. These two, as I say, sixth and final meeting between them this season. It's the nature of the beast. You do see it every now and again. There's Trusty, who's back in the side.
Yeah, there's a couple of players like Trusty, you're right, and you know, Schmeichel, Kuhn even coming back in. These are players who are probably fighting for their cup final place, and they have to put on a good show today and maybe during the week also.
Yeah, no Carter Vickers at all for Celtic as Maida chases it down the left hand side, gets to the byline, high ball across, behind the line, over the bar, goal kick to Hibs.
He's a player, Maida, sorry Liam, that is full of confidence after obviously player of the year, getting that award, which is
He'll be getting another one shortly.
He will do, and he deserves it, absolutely deserves it. Somebody said to me just a while ago that the comparison maybe to the Bobby Lennox of old, where Bobby was a fantastic player, and he had that energy and running and continued running and pace, and obviously goals at the end of it, almost playing in a wide position also, so that there is good comparisons there.
He is electric, that's for sure. 33 goals, he's 11 assists as well, including a couple in the game at Tannadice a couple of weeks ago that sealed the title. He's also chucked one in for Japan for good measure. Celtic pick up with Trusty, out to Ralston, knocks it forward to Hatate, and then first time ball back to McGregor. He moves into the centre circle and rolls it to Scales. To Taylor on the left, down the line from Maida. First time low ball into Engels, back to Taylor it comes, breaks off to Garevich. Out for a throw into Celtic. David Gray just throwing the ball to Greg Taylor. Is he going into the final weeks of his Celtic career? We shall see. That's knocked back to Scales, who squares it to Trusty. Does it make any difference, Celtic shooting this way in the first half?
No, but it's been clever from Martin Boyle, obviously taking the toss, probably winning the toss, and trying to just maybe try to find a little thing that might upset them a little bit.
Try and ruffle the feathers a bit.
Ruffle the feathers a bit, and so it's clever from that perspective. But I don't think it has got any bearing, or will have any bearing really, on the way the Celtic play.
Taylor looking to get it through to Ida. It's found its way through to him despite the best efforts of O'Hara. Ida gets the cross in from the left. There's a header from Engels. It's a comfortable one for Smith to hold on to, down into the ground. It skips back up into the Hibs keeper's gloves. Yeah. And it stays nothing each on 4 minutes. Yeah,
it was a decent run down the side from Adam Ida. Found himself in lots of space. He could have carried the ball, I think, into the box also, but he elected to kind of chip it almost beyond the the penalty spot, but Engels just under the ball and couldn't get any power on it. If it was further in, he might have been able to come onto it with a bit of a momentum and get better power.
I'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the other games in the Premiership and in those playoff games as well down the leagues. Championship and League One Pyramid, as Hibs come forward with Boyle at the left angle of the box, but he's offside, and that will be a free kick to Celtic deep inside their own half. Yeah, that huge game, match of the day without question, in fact match of the weekend. St Johnstone against Ross County, goalless in the early exchanges there, as it is everywhere else across the country. Those playoffs, Airgione and Stennismuir, Cove Rangers, Queen of the South for a place in the Championship. The League One and Pyramid ones as well. We'll keep up to date with them as Taylor rolls it to the edge of the Hibs box for Maida on the 18-yard line, left of the D, back to Hatate. And out to the left-hand side for Taylor, controls with the undersole and passes it back to Scales. Scales then out to Taylor, level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box on the left-hand touchline to Scales. And infield short ball to McGregor to the right of the centre circle for the most withdrawn of the outfield Celtic players, Trusty. who plays it out to Ralston, who continues in the continued absence of Alistair Johnston, who missed the game at Ibrox last Sunday. Here's Scales, rolls it out to Maida, starting on the left again today, level with the penalty spot, now to Hatate. Celtic trying to get into their stride. Back to Scales.
Lots of possession, lots of movement, moving the ball around, circling around that edge of the 18, but
yeah, and here's Kuhn, wide in the right of the box, rolls it to McGregor, he's on the left foot, his shot is blocked. And it bounces out to this left-hand side for Taylor. Now Hatate attacking the Hibs box, he goes for goal, it's blocked there by O'Hara. Breaks back to Taylor. Rolls it to McGregor, controls, finds Maida, infield to Taylor, little back heel for Hatate. His pass is wayward, straight to Campbell, who's fouled by Ralston. And that'll be a free kick to Hibs in the edge of their own box. It is goalless here in the early exchanges in Glasgow, and the mercury around about 20-21 degrees Celsius. Very pleasant day, as it is, I think, across Scotland.
It's always nice for us sitting up here in the stand.
Well, you spend plenty of months shivering.
Absolutely, but for the players, it'll be quite warm out there, and the energy of the game might take a little bit of a nosedive as the game goes on.
McGregor back to Scales. He just shifts it to the right of the centre circle for Trusty, who finds Ralston over on that right-hand side. Long ball, going to get Kuhn in behind Obita. Kuhn's going to get there as well. The keeper changed his mind. In comes the ball, looking for Ida. Knocked away by Rocky Bashiri. The cushion header from Campbell. Goes back to Triantis, but it was an offside flag anyway against Celtic, presumably against Kuhn. And that will be a free kick to Hibs just outside their own box.
Yeah, that late flag again that we all come to. We're used to it now, but it still is one of them rules that I would love to see change, especially if you're so far offside that everybody sees it.
Cove Rangers won Queen of the South 0. It was goalless in the first leg of that championship playoff semi-final, but Cove have gone in front early on in the second leg. Still goalless Airdrie, Stennismere Airdrie with a 3-1 lead as they try and protect their championship status. Annan Athletic have gone 1-0 up on Elgin to increase their lead to 5-2 in aggregate in the League One playoff semi-final. Still goalless East Fife, Edinburgh City, the capital side with a 1-0 lead going into that. But East Kilbride have gone ahead against Bonnyrigg in the first leg of the League Two Pyramid playoff final. East Kilbride 1, Bonnyrigg 0. The Lowland League side in front against Bonnyrigg. Here comes Celtic over on the right with Arne Engels, level with Hibs penalty spot. Finds Ralston, his cross cut out by Iredale and out of play for a throw into Celtic on the far side. The vast majority of the infancy of this one has been contested in the Hibernian half here. There's no surprise. Celtic with Engels fires a great ball in. He almost found Maida. It's brilliantly defended by Chris Cadden though. Outstanding from Cadden. His brother, his twin brother, has had so many plaudits this season. He struggled to get back in the team after being injured here in that Scottish Cup quarter-final, but his brother Chris has had an exceptional campaign too. Hatate knocked through to Ida, chance here, he shoots straight at Smith, who puts it behind for the corner.
Yeah, it was a good run again, good pass, getting in behind that back three, and the ball was just running away from him slightly, and he's got to make perfect contact, but he didn't get it across the goalkeeper. He hit it straight down the line, and it bounced off the goalkeeper's head, I think, and went for the corner.
Celtic took a really quick short corner there. When you watch Celtic games, they are terrible when it comes to taking notes, because they don't give you time to take notes. They take corners and throw in so quickly after an opportunity there. Hatate has it now, and it's Taylor. Hibs got it away, but it's Greg Taylor just turning away from his man, back to Hatate, who finds McGregor. And now it's Hatate to the touchline for Taylor, and infield to McGregor, and now it's with Engels.
So far in the game, we're almost 10 minutes in. I think it's been totally dominated by Celtic, getting lots of possession, passing the ball, nice crisp little passes, keeping the ball moving, but they haven't really been able to create too much, apart from that one chance from Adamida. But they're in control of the game, and Hibs just trying to keep their shape. They've got that back five, three in midfield. Martin Boyle's the one closest to Kukarevich.
Here they go again. Engels with another deep ball in, which Kukarevich heads behind for another Celtic corner. This is their third in close succession. And yeah, there was the Ida chance there. There was also the Maida one, wasn't there? There was a fabulous ball in by Arne Engels on the right hand side, whipped it across the goal frame.
And you listen, if you're playing up against Maida, you know exactly what he's going to be there all the time. You've got to be so aware, so concentrated, and Chris Cadden did a wonderful job at the back post, but that's going to be a feature of the game.
Celtic just shy of 84% possession, just beyond the 10-minute mark. Engels will take an in-swinging corner from the main stand side. Celtic attacking the goal to the left here in the first half. In from Engels, and then headed away by Cadden at the near post. Breaks the way of Ralston. He uses the right foot to turn it across the pitch to McGregor, then down the line there for Engels, whose back heel bouncing off Campbell, and out for a Celtic throw-in, which Taylor bowls back onto the halfway area for Scales. Rolls it left to right in the centre circle for Trusty to the right hand side. It's with Ralston onto the touchline for Kuhn. Got those 2 goals at Tannadice. It's first since the Champions League tie against Bayern Munich away from home. As it goes to Ralston on the right, it's the cross in, little touch towards goal by Kuhn, and it's going to take it behind harmlessly on the left hand side of the goal frame, and it will stay Celtic 0, Hibs 0 here.
Yeah, and you know, we didn't see much from Ralston getting forward against Rangers, for example. I think he's been forward once in the game. I think the day is different because he's bombing already up that right hand side, not as convincing at times as Alistair Johnston is, but it's a feature of Celtic's play when they have the winger on the ball, the fullback joins in, he comes either underlaps or overlaps, and it's hugely important part of it. And if it's not happening, then it comes away, takes away from the Celtic play.
Good defending there by Scales. There was a long ball coming through. He had company there as well as he faced his own goal, but he nicked it away. And now it's with the Tati to Taylor. Lovely clip ball forward for Ida's in behind again. Ida's got the chance here, and again he shoots at Smith, who holds on this time. The flag's up anyway, so wouldn't have counted.
Yeah, it's making the run.
I thought it would have counted, depending on the VAR check that would have come afterwards. But he's in behind again.
He's in behind again, but it's unconvincing. I think the two opportunities he had. Angle, of course, quite a tight angle, but I think he's got to maybe get it settled and finish that much better than he did.
One ball for Martin Boyle. He plucks it out of the Glasgow sky well. Now he drives towards the Celtic box at the edge of the area, right hand side. Support from Chris Cadden. Boyle continues, gets the ball across, cleared by Scales. Maida's touch back into his own area, finds Scales, who'll roll it expertly back out wide left here for Maida, who goes back down the line for Taylor. Hibs pressing well here, but Celtic have defended it brilliantly. It's excellent footwork by Liam Scales. He finds McGregor and Ralston. That won't have been lost on his manager, that.
No,
Liam Scales.
And listen, the first
chance again, the Tati in behind Cadden. It's Maida, early ball for Ida, who couldn't get onto the end of it. And just slithered away from him, and out he goes off a Hibs player for a Celtic throw-in level with the Hibs penalty spot wide in the right. 0-0, 13.5 on the clock.
They're getting in so easy in behind that Hibs defence. They're very square. Listen, there's 3 of them in there, nobody taking responsibility for the runners.
Ralston's cross is cut out, but it breaks to Engels. Now it's with Kuhn at the right angle, gets the ball in, and everyone leaves it. He goes behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, another good ball, wasn't it? In between the goalkeeper and Chris Cadden at the back post, just with a bit of pace, is taking it behind and away from Maeda, who made that run again. But yeah, all too easy for Hibs, for Celtic getting in behind. They haven't just been able to finish off some of these chances.
Cove Rangers' goal, incidentally, came from a Mitch Megginson penalty. A really good player for Cove down the years. And an Athletic, as you said, leading Elgin 1-0. They are 5-2 up in aggregate, and they are heading through to the League One playoff final. They'll face, as it stands, Edinburgh City. East Fife at home against the capital team today, though. East Kilbride 1-0 up still in Bonnyrigg. No goals across the 5 matches in the Premiership. Remember, Rangers Aberdeen to come tomorrow. It's back here with Smith on his 6-yard line. Rolls it to his right for Bushiri. Side football forward to Dylan Levitt, who I think is touching the ball for the first time 15 minutes in. The turn and pass from Campbell's wayward, though. Comes all the way through to Scales, who'll be able to mop up comfortably here.
Yeah, just apart from that long kick out from Smith on and that Trusty didn't really deal with, the Martin Boyle picked up. It's only the only time so far in 15 minutes gone that Hibs have been really in Celtic's final third.
Scales to Austin Trusty, steps in for his international colleague. Carter Vickers today is not in the squad at all. He's being wrapped in cotton wool ahead of that Scottish Cup final to come in a couple of weeks' time, because he missed the Scottish Cup final 2 seasons ago against Cali Thistle. And he continued to play after Celtic had won the league. They were still in the midst of a battle this time last year. Rangers were just a few points behind them, but it's been a much simpler task this time around, as the first time ball from Engels doesn't find Kuhn. Goes all the way through to Jordan Smith. The Hibs keeper in possession, and Hibs know that they can finish no lower than 4th if they win today and Dundee United don't. A draw here for Hibs and a defeat for United would also secure at least 4th place.
Well, I would say Dundee United and Aberdeen are very happy the way Celtic have started this game.
Yeah, well, here's Engels at the edge of the box. He goes for goal, but he come off his toe, I think, there, and it flies high into the Jockstein stand, and it will stay Celtic 0, Hibs 0 at 16.5.
Yeah, just they're dominant in the game. They're pushing Hibs. They're really creating opportunities. You know, on a day like this, I know they're in front of their own fans, and it's been the first time since they've won the league, and they're putting on a wee bit of a display, but they could easily, with this heat and everything, just come off it a little bit and give Hibs an opportunity. Here's an opportunity for them now down the left-hand side.
Kukarevich on the left-hand side of the Celtic box, turns in field, lays it back to Campbell. Campbell now midway inside the Celtic half, he goes back to Levitt, the Welshman, with a right foot ball low out to Obita on the left. Takes a touch, he's got plenty of time to get his cross picked out, and it comes, headed away by Trusty. Triantis trying to keep it alive here. It's the ball to the edge of the box, going to break to Boyle, he's in! Saved brilliantly by Schmeichel. No flag, that was the chance for Hibernian. Martin Boyle saw the whites of Schmeichel's eyes when the keeper made himself big, and that is classic Kasper Schmeichel. It stays 0-0.
Yeah, huge chance, and absolutely there was a page out.
Here they come again. Kukarevich, the edge of the box, he scuffs his shot and he puts it past the left-hand post. Hibs baring their teeth for the first time in the game, and Martin Boyle, I think if he hits it low, he scores.
He does, but it was I was going to say a page out of his dad's book, in the way that he used to spread himself. Like I think it was handball sort of kind of spread, where you just come, throw your arms out, throw your legs out, and hope that you're going to get a block on it, which he did on this occasion. But he went for power, Martin Boyle. If he stroked it in the corner, he probably had a better chance. But huge chance, huge chance.
And here comes Celtic. We know what we say when you don't take your chances against Celtic. McGregor shoots and his low effort's blocked. It was the edge of the box. Scales heads it to the right of the area. McGregor helping on its way. Engels on the slide, gets it to Kuhn. He's the edge of the box. He shoots, deflected. It's going to go behind for a Celtic corner. That's the thing here. Schmeichel's made a brilliant save there, and he'll be delighted with that. He'll want a clean sheet, obviously, but he'll want to make a couple of saves, having just come back from injury. And if you don't take your chances, we've seen it so often. And Hibs know, because they had 2 gilt-edged ones from Kukarevich here in December and ended up losing 3-0.
Yeah, and listen, at this stage of the season, you know, people keep saying it's a free hit coming to Celtic Park. This is not a free hit for Hibs. They want to win this game. Points are so vital for them, and when you miss a chance like that, then you know you could be regretted.
Well, it's going to be Engels to take a corner for Celtic up the other end here. It's a minute after Boyle's chance, and it comes to the back post. It's missed by a couple of Hibs defenders, but I think Kukarevich managed to get enough on it to get it out of the box. Hibs eventually clear their lines. It comes all the way through to Ralston under no pressure, left of the centre circle inside his own half. Square ball for Scales. Will then roll it with the left to Austin Trusty over on the right hand side, and then down the line for Kuhn, taking on Obita, whose form's keeping Nicky Cadden out of the team. Kuhn's got him though. Down the right he goes, gets the cross in. It's cleared by Hibs, breaks back to Kuhn wide on the right, goes back to Tony Ralston. Short ball for Kuhn, it's level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box here. Floaty ball comes in, and that is what the goalkeeper wants to see all day long, and Jordan Smith gathers with both hands, and it stays Celtic 0, Hibs 0, almost in 20.
Yeah, he had a couple of chances there. The first one, the initial one, he kind of half reluctant to go to the byline and get a good cross in. He was pushed down the byline by Obita, and but he just didn't get good connection on the ball. And the second one then he comes back in on his other foot, his left foot, and he swings it too high for the goalkeeper.
Bonnyrigg know what it's all about, coming up from the Lowland League into the SPFL. They've drawn level against the Lowland League champions East Kilbride. Elliott had put East Kilbride in front. Arnott has equalised. Aaron Arnott's, that's one apiece there at K Park. No goals still in the Premiership, including this one here. It remains Airdrieonians 0, Stennismere 0, Cove Rangers 1, Queen of the South 0. Annan 1, Elgin 0, goalless East Fife, Edinburgh City. As Trusty plays it off Kukarevich, he thinks he's getting a goal kick. Hibs think it should have been a corner. In fact, the ball's still in play, I think, is the ultimate decision. Celtic and forward, Kuhn right of the centre circle, his ball forwards cut out, breaks to O'Hara, who finds Iredale to his left now with Triantis, who spins 360 degrees and then another 180, and he's got rid of Maida. It's no mean feat, that. Nectarius Triantis to shake off Maida like that. As it comes to Chris Cadden and then back to Triantis. He's like a wasp at a barbecue, dies in Maida, Packy. Can't get rid of him.
No, and he's always on the move, he's always looking. Now here they won the ball in midfield and they give it away again.
Giving it away, and it's Levitt scooping it forward. That's not a great ball either, and it's Scales who finds McGregor midway inside his own half, and he shifts it to his right there for Ralston. Ralston then out to that far side for Engels. Then to Ralston, and now with Callum McGregor who squares it for Scales. Celtic comfortable in the game, but Hibs have had their opportunity. And that Martin Boyle chance, and yeah, we're just fully expecting Boyle to score his 18th goal of the season there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a loose one by Celtic. Boyle was almost onto it. Scales manages to bail out. I think it was Kuhn who played it back the way. It's up out in the right. Abita's headed away straight to Engels. Nods it back to McGregor right of the centre circle. Now it's with Reo Hatate. Hatate looking for Maida in behind. He's found him just about. Flag stays down, and Maida across the face of goal. Ida can't get there in time, and it was behind for the goal kick, and it will stay Celtic 0, Hibs 0. There was no flag there.
There was no flag, and you know, it looked as if it was a ball he was never going to catch, but he was able to somehow get a touch on the ball and then just drilled it across the 6-yard box. I don't know whether the goalkeeper's injured here from Hibs, whether he's his thigh.
He's stretching something out, isn't he? The medics one of the Hibs medics is waiting to come on, and some of the players I think will take this opportunity to take on some fluids here. There's a warm day in Glasgow. Going through the permutation for Hibs, I mean, even if they match Dundee United's result today, it would effectively be done given the huge goal difference advantage that they've got over Dundee United. They've also got a massive goal difference advantage over Aberdeen to the tune of 18. So because Aberdeen lost in Paisley last week, I mean, beating Hibs at Pittodrie the week before, Hibs beating Dundee United last week, it does mean that Aberdeen need an effective 2-result swing to finish third this season. I think their goalkeeper Dimitar Mitov admitting that they'll probably have to win all 3 of their remaining matches. Hibs have a trip to Paisley themselves to come on Wednesday, and then they finish off at home to Rangers, who they've already beaten at Ibrox this season. That fixture won't exactly hold any fear for them, given their form they're in, particularly at home, where they've
a point today, Liam, for Hibs.
Well, I think a point today, if Aberdeen were to win at Ibrox tomorrow, a point here perhaps wouldn't be enough. It could be enough come the shake-up, but they'll fully expect Aberdeen to not pick up 9 points out of 9, given the tough fixtures that they have, and given they lost in Paisley last week. That was a huge blow for Aberdeen in the race for third. They do still have that opportunity to win the Scottish Cup, because some Hibs, if they were to finish third, we played 24 here and it remains 0-0, and Jordan Smith looks like he's going to be okay to continue.
Yeah, I think that was a welcome break for the players to just come to the sideline, get some fluids on, talk even the managers to give some sort of tactical maybe information, just 1 or 2 little snippets that could help Hibs. But
yeah, well, here comes Chris Cadden down to the corner flag area, gets the cross into the box, breaks to Campbell. Boyle might get a second chance, does, and scores! And Martin Boyle gives Hibs the lead here in Glasgow's East End. He slides in front of the Hibs supporters to celebrate. Broke to him fortuitously, but that was a calm, measured finish into the bottom right corner as Hibs hunt down third place. It is Celtic 0, Hibernian 1.
Yeah, huge goal for them, and again out of absolutely nothing after the break, balls swung into almost beyond the 6-yard box, and they were first to get to the ball, and then a sort of almost play then ricocheted back to Boyle, who was really clinical and sharp inside the bog, and this time he slotted it in to the corner of the net. He didn't go for power, and he beat Schmeichel, and it's a huge goal for them.
Yeah, and the goal has survived the VAR check, so Hibs do lead here. Remember, they haven't won at Celtic Park since 2010. And this is a Hibs team that's going like a train right now. And David Gray celebrated down there below us with a fist pump to the air. Martin Boyle right in front of the Hibs fans. You're making some racket now off to our right. They are top of all the form tables, going back 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 games. Hibs top of the form table. They've picked up 2 more points than Celtic have managed in the last 12.
Well, you've got to say, you know, they've defended, they've sat in there, and they've just been a threat once or twice, one huge chance, and then they get their goal. So, you know, from a ratio point of view, being up the pitch twice, and then he ends up with 1 goal out of 2 is remarkable.
He didn't have too long to think about it, Boyle, but he did miss that chance 10 minutes ago or so. But there was no denying him on this occasion. So he nestled the ball in the bottom right corner. Remember, Brendan Rodgers has only ever lost 3 home domestic matches as Celtic manager. To Aberdeen in 2018, to Hearts in December 2023, and to Rangers this season. Hibs have put themselves in pole position with that one. And if they win this, 3rd is just about theirs. Here comes Ida for Celtic. They'll have their say. They've missed chances as well. But the offside flag goes up over on the far side, and that will be a Hibs free kick. And what they've done, David Gray's team, is they've given themselves something to hold on to.
That's it.
And as I just said there, this isn't just a normal away Premiership team coming to Celtic Park and taking the lead. This is a team that's going like a juggernaut right now.
Yeah, just what they have to do is tighten up. I think at the back a little bit. Still are getting in too easily in behind them. If they can get that sorted, track the runners, and then just play the way they're doing on that counter-attack, they have a chance. They've got the goal, they've got something to hang on to, as you say, Liam, and they're in a great position. But Celtic just have got to probably be more clinical when they get into those scoring positions. The build-up play is good.
It is, and they've only conceded 3 times since they lost in the Scottish Cup quarter here, Hibs, so they have generally been pretty tight at the back. A couple of times Ida's been in behind on Maida this afternoon as Celtic get a free kick, and Boyle and Triantis bit of gamesmanship to delay the taking of that. Just before that goal went in, Elgin City equalised on the day through Ryan Sargent, cancelling out Tommy Muir's opener for Annan. 5-3 Annan on aggregate to Celtic, come with Engels, and he lashes high over the crossbar, and that will be a goal kick to Hibs, who have a 1-0 lead here. The only goal scored in the Premiership so far this afternoon. We played almost 29 minutes here in Glasgow's East End. The other scorelines, looks as though East Fife have got level with Edinburgh City, 1-1 on the day. We'll just get confirmation of that in a moment. And I believe St Mirren have gone ahead against Dundee United at Tannadice. That could be a massive goal in both those clubs' seasons. We'll get confirmation of that in a moment. And talking of massive goals, I believe St Johnstone have gone ahead against Ross County. So that is the match of the weekend. The bottom of the table. St Johnstone lose that, they are down, but they are winning that one. So some big goals going in across the country in the business end of the season. It's Kilmarnock go 1-0 up on Dundee, and that might yet, when you look at that, drag Dundee right back into the mire too. They're just, in their minds, was 11th spot going into that one, but that St Johnstone goal could mix things up a bit. Anyway, I'll get confirmation of those and the goal scorers for you when I get them. It is Celtic on the ball here, trailing Hibs 1-0. Taylor finds Hatate. Taylor going down the line. Ball in field, cut out there by Levitt, who sweeps clear. Now it's with Scales, and then McGregor. It really has been one of the stories of the season, what David Gray and Hibs have done, and I know you were mentioning your old teammate Malky Mackay earlier
Yeah,
on the job that he's done as well. But as a club, collectively, they have stepped up and some since
it's
November.
incredible.
Here comes Celtic with Maida, left-hand side of the box. He slips at the crucial moment, plays it across, comes off Chris Cadden. Might well have come off his hand, but I think it was in a natural position. Maida slipped just as he was trying to pull it across. Taylor for Celtic finds McGregor. We are beyond the half hour here. Hibs leading 1-0.
And good management is about getting a reaction when you're down from the players and then being consistent, and that's what they have done, Liam. You know, they were in such a bad place and everybody was criticising, but they kept calm, they kept collected, and it was a team effort. And I did mention Malky because I think it needs to come from above too, as much as the management, just to keep some sort of stability, stable thinking, because when you're under pressure, you're under pressure.
Balodi's got the goal for St Johnstone, the man who scored their winner against Celtic in Perth. And Mikel Mandron, following up that huge goal against Aberdeen last week, having signed a new contract with the club, has got one again today. St Mirren are 1-0 up at Tannadice. And the Killie goal was scored by Danny Armstrong. Penalty. In comes Engels, out swinging corner from the right-hand side with the right foot, flicked away by Hibs. Now it's with Hatate. The left angle of the box. Good challenge by Levitt. Breaks to Ralston though. He squares it to McGregor, who rolls it out to Arne Engels over on the right, level the edge of the D of the Hibs box. Thought about the cross. In the end, he rolls it back to McGregor, who squares it infield to Ralston, who squares it to Scales. Midway inside Hibs territory. It's out to the left for Taylor. Into Scales. And now with Hatate. Hatate finds Scales again. Scales out to Ralston, and then Maida left of the box, back to Taylor. Taylor for Hatate, looking for Taylor again, gets away from Levitt, knocks it low in field there to Maida, came bouncing off Cadden's hand again, and Brendan Rodgers has his arms out like the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro there. That's gone behind for a corner at the moment, but there will be a check for a possible penalty here for Celtic.
Yeah, so close in for Cadden though, he was so close to, and it was just kind of almost flicked up onto his hand.
This is a much better appeal though than the previous one that came off his arm.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much.
It was.
So Engels waits to take a possible corner here. Colin Stephen, the referee, his left hand to his left ear as they check the replays in the VAR room, and whether it will be punished by a penalty kick here. There will be no penalty. It will be a corner only for Celtic. It survives the check.
Yeah, I just feel that it was so close, and it was kind of almost, he had no chance to
Yeah, short corner rolled, well, low corner, back to McGregor at the edge of the box. It's Engels again, now Taylor at the byline wins another corner. Hearts have gone 1-0 up through Lawrence Shankland against Motherwell in the bottom six. He's found his shooting boots, scoring boots at the end of the season, as Shankland, having scored twice in Dingwall last weekend. Hearts lead Motherwell 1-0 at Tynecastle. Celtic corner, which Engels will take. Second chance here. This one's coming right into the box. And it comes, it's headed away, a good header too from Triantis, who's been in brilliant form for Hibs, and it's kept in play on the far side by Kukarevich, who dumps it clear. Ralston picks it up now, it's with McGregor, 33.5 on the clock. Celtic 0, Hibs 1.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
to Scales,
Triantis, when you have a player like him in the middle of the pitch, he's got height also, and that's a huge advantage when it comes to set pieces, and he did remarkably well.
They'd love to keep him. Here comes Engels, crosses in from the left-hand side of the box, away by Obita. Callum McGregor picks up and rolls it low there, short to Ralston. Now it's McGregor, and now it's Engels with the right foot to the left angle of the box for Taylor. Takes a touch, gets the cross in, missed by Bushiri, but defended brilliantly by Iredale at the back post there. Lovely little spin away from Kuhn, gets it clear up the line, where Ralston keeps it in play. Now it's with McGregor. Rolls it right hand side of the box at Engels, too much on it though, goes behind for the goal kick. Little over 10 minutes of the first half to play, with Hibs defending this 1-0 lead given to them by Martin Boyle's 18th goal of the season. He's another one they want to keep for at least another year. He's 32 now, is Boyle, but he's proven time and time again, and nobody needs anyone to tell David Gray how important he is. He was a teammate of his for years,
Yeah.
but he is just so crucial to what Hibs are doing.
And he's playing in that great position that every player with his ability likes to play. He doesn't have, comes back and fills gaps, but he's not having to track people and defensively. But when the ball's played forward, he's elusive. He's in that number 10, almost number 10 role. He can find little pockets, and he reacts really well to the situation. And he's dangerous, and he's got to turn the pace. Really difficult to pick up at times, and that's what happened, I think, for his chance and for the goal.
It was an Adam Lareff goal for East Fife. They lead Edinburgh City 1-0. That's 1-1 on aggregate in that one now, League One playoff semi-final. Maida going after it on this left-hand side, and now it's whipped in there left-hand side by Hatate, too close to Smith, who holds on. East Kilbride 1, Bonnyrigg 1. As I said, Elliott and Arnott trading goals in that one. Annan 1, Elgin 1 remains the score. Annan still a couple of goals up on that, and aggregate 5-3 they are. And Airdrieonians have gone 1-0 up on Stenhousemuir. Alex Bannon with the goal. Teed up by Adam Frizzell, so Airdrieonians 1, Stenhousemuir 0, and 3-1 they extend their lead to on aggregate. Celtic trailing here. It's Taylor to McGregor, rolls it low with the left out to the right for Ralston. Level with the edge of the arc of the Hibs box. Back it comes to McGregor. Celtic haven't really created a gilt-edged opportunity since going behind.
They're still moving the ball quite well. They're making those runs in behind, but it's just the final product again. You know, Adam Ida's had those two really good chances there. They're back in again nearly.
McGregor scooping it forward, looking for Maida. Comes right through to Smith. And there's no flag against Dyson Maida, who does have that yard extra when a defender or a defence wants to stop. Then they're always running the risk. And it was a similar story with Kyogo, albeit he played on the shoulder of the defender. But Maida, you could have a head start of a couple of yards in Maida. It doesn't mean you're getting onto it first.
If you're a full-back or a wing-back and you're playing that position, the moment that you take your eye off him and you look at the ball, that's when he makes his move.
It's an early one for Ida on the stretch, can't get there, neither can Kuhn. And Iredale will come away with it. Well, Dyson Maida did all he could there for the two that were waiting in the middle. Hibs defend it and clear it, and it stays Celtic 0, Hibs 1. 37.
There's been I think there's been 3 balls flashed across from Maeda from this left-hand side, and they're just eluding Adam Ida in the centre, whether he's not getting in there quick enough.
Kuhn, the edge of the box, the shot blocked by Abita, breaks back to Nicholas Kuhn, rolls it to Ralston, across it comes, and it just bobbles away from the two Celtic players behind their back there. Breaks to Chris Cadden, who clears up the line and out for a Celtic throw-in, which Taylor takes quickly to McGregor.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, it's either Adam's not reacting or anticipating that ball maybe quick enough, or it's just the pace of the ball. I'm open for a debate around that, to be perfectly honest.
Here's Hatate at the edge of the Hibs box. Only really got Kukarevich behind the ball here. In fact, he's gone behind the ball now. It's protecting the lead that Boyle gave them. And it's Ralston out to the right-hand side there for Kuhn. Ross County are level in Perth against St Johnstone. Lead didn't last long. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1. And Motherwell have equalised at Tynecastle against Hearts. As Chris Cadden comes bombing forward down the right. Celtic a little bit stretched here. Chris Cadden's got the quality, gets the cross in, cleared by Scales though. Tate forward to Ida. Celtic fans getting a little bit frustrated here. Not used to seeing their team behind. It's just the 9th time they've been behind in the Premiership this season. They're behind again last week.
Yeah, Chris Cadden doing well again, picking up that ball and just shrugging. Made it off this time and bombing forward. He was desperate. He was looking for the back post for Martin Boyle. Just couldn't get into a position where he could strike that ball.
Here's Kuhn dancing into the Hibs box, right hand side. His effort at goal is blocked, and it breaks out to Chris Cadden on this near side. Cadden launching it forward. Trusty will have to be careful because Boyle is there. Trusty with a calm header into midfield for McGregor, who goes back to Scales, who shifts it with the left to the right of the centre circle for Ralston. Yeah, it's the 9th time they've been behind. They were behind at Ross County, they won that 2-1. Behind to Rangers, lost 3-0. Drew with Dundee 3-3, we're behind in that one. To Hibs, obviously, at Easter Road, twice against Rangers. that game here at Celtic Park that they lost, at St Johnstone, and then at Ibrox last week. You can add Hibs to that here. As Scales picks up from Taylor. Taylor's in a central position here. He likes to go now and again. He plays it to the right of the centre circle for Trusty, rolls it low out to Kuhn. That's us about to tick into the final 5 minutes of the 45 in this first half. Celtic 0, Hibs 1. It is McGregor. Out it comes to Ralston. Hibs have played this as well as any visiting team have done this season. And the bonus for them is they've got a lead as well. And here's Hatate at the edge of the box. The edge of the D, crowded out, but manages to release it to Engels to the left. Now Hatate. The left angle of the box gets a bit of space, little back heel for Taylor, at least to return it to Hatate, who's on the slide when he tried to get back onto it, and Hibs are able to clear. Scales back facing his own goal, under pressure from Boyle, gets it back to Schmeichel. Mustn't forget as well, Boyle scored, but he probably should have scored another one.
Should have.
Ralston dinking it forward, looking for Ida, looking to get in behind, and there's a chance here for Kuhn, gets round the keeper, and rolls it home! It's brilliant from Kuhn! Took it away from Smith, right-hand side of the 6-yard box, and he rolls it calmly into the bottom left corner to bring the champions level. It is Celtic 1, Hibs 1.
Yeah, and listen, there was three of them running in behind. You had Kuhn, you had Adamida, and you had Maeda. And once they got control of the ball and went round the goalkeeper, but that space in behind the Hibs defence again exploited, and that's the bit that Hibs have been struggling with the whole of this game. Just runs in behind, ball played there, nobody tracking runners, nobody able to defend that space properly, and eventually that goal was going to come.
They are checking something here though.
Offside.
This isn't cut and dry, it's not offside. Well, they are saying it's offside in the big screens, but there's I don't think it's Kuhn. I think it might be earlier in the move.
Adamida maybe,
yeah.
But did he get a touch on the ball? I'm not sure he did. That was the point.
They're checking for a possible offence here, so this hasn't cut and dried yet.
He was in the line of the ball. He may have taken the defender out of it and stopped that defender maybe getting contact with the ball, and that might be why. I don't know if he's made any contact with the ball, Adamida.
Drawing lines right now. So Colin Stephen, the referee, is waiting patiently. Nicholas Kuhn.
This will be huge for Hibs, I can tell you, if this goal's chalked off, because such a vital time right before half time. You know, it's always one of those where if you go in and you've got that goal up and you can get a breather and you can settle down, or if you lose a goal, then you're under pressure.
Is the VAR. So just waiting on the final checks. As I said, they were drawing the line, so this must be extremely tight. This goal's going to be given. It is given, and it's 1-1. And Nicholas Kuhn, who scored his 21st goal of the season, throw in 14 assists on top of that. You can see why he's still being mentioned in dispatches for awards such as the Football Writers one here in this country. And it's 1-1, Packy.
1-1, and you know, listen, Celtic have got lots of the possession, and I suppose when you consider the chances that Adamida had early on, and that you know, they probably deserve to get a goal.
But here comes Celtic again. Here Hibs have to be careful. It's Kuhn attacking the box, looking up at the goal. He shoots. It's a comfortable save for Smith. Not sure if I told you Motherwell had equalised. Anyway, they did, but it's been ruled out. So that goal hasn't stood. It stays Hearts 1, Motherwell 0. And that one in the Premiership, the top six, the other game taking place in the top six. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1, Mandron got the goal there. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0, as I say. Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0, St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1. And here come Hibs again. Boyle, left hand side of the box, cuts in away from Scales. He slips at the crucial moment. This next act was shooting. That was another opportunity for Boyle.
Yeah, again, that little slide pass down the side of Liam Scales this time. Both of them had dropped off, Trusty and Scales, but such a turn of pace.
There's Kuhn, lovely dink ball. He does it behind and he scores! Fabulous finish from Adamida. It was dinked to the right-hand side of the box. The Hibs defence sleeping on this occasion. And Ida lashes it home low again into the bottom left corner. And Hibs, who led, now trail to the champions. Celtic 2, Hibernian 1.
Again, not falling behind. Little pass. All you've got to do from the striker's position is just make a run. But nobody seems to be close to him at all to get a tackle in. And this time, he just let the ball drop onto his right foot and beautifully side-footed the ball with a little bit of pace across the goalkeeper into the back of the net. And 4 minutes goes up here for extra time. Just cross, good finish, I've got to say this time. But again, coming on the inside and a little dinky ball over the top, and Bashiri is so far off Adamida, you've got to track him inside the box.
Yeah, I was going to say that is a classic number 9 finish there. That's what you want from your number 9, and Ida provided. It's a terrific finish, and as Paki was saying, Kuhn set it up. It's a 15th assist of the season for Kuhn. Adam Ida, 19th for the season for him as far as his goal tally is concerned, and he is odds on now, you would think, to be the 3rd Celtic player to hit the 20 goal mark this season.
Yeah,
and Hibs for Hibs, I mean, that is just horrendous for them. 2 goals conceded in a couple of minutes just before half time. David Gray will be fuming.
But it's horrendous defending, and when you think about it, just seconds before that, it was a case where, well done Liam, where Martin Boyle got in behind, and just at a vital moment when he was just about to pull the trigger, he slipped, and that allowed Liam Scales then to pick the ball up, and from there Celtic break up the pitch.
It's one of those classic Celtic Park sliding doors moments for a visiting team. That Martin Boyle, I mean, if he stays on his feet there, he's probably scoring.
He's probably scoring, and he would have learned from that. I think he did in his goal, learned from maybe the first chance he had when he blasted it straight at Schmeichel. Schmeichel doing well to block it, and then the goal he slotted, and I'm sure that time he would have just slotted it into the corner of the net, but he slipped, and that gives Celtic a chance to recover.
As Paki said, 4 minutes of stoppage time were added on at the end. We're almost halfway through that. Hibs are up the pitch here. It's going to be an Iredale long throw into the Celtic box level with the penalty spot, and it comes allowed to bounce, not once but twice, and there's a chance for Boyle at the edge of the box. He shoots, comes off Kukarevich, he's trying to keep it in play, does so. The big Ukrainian out that far side, gets the cross in, headed away well by Trusty with Triantis in behind him. It's lashed up high into the air by Maida. Schmeichel will hold on to it, because I'm assuming that wasn't a deliberate back pass, Paki.
No, it definitely wasn't deliberate anyway, for sure. It was a bit unorthodox, to be perfectly honest.
Happy accident for Maida, that though. It took the pressure right off his defence when Schmeichel gathered it. So that is the state of play in the Premiership. Bringing you the scorelines just a moment ago. The Championship playoff semis, Airdrieonians 1, Stenhousemuir 0. That's at half-time. Airdrieonians with the 3-1 lead on aggregate. Cove Rangers 1, Queen of the South 0. That early Megginson penalty, that is also the aggregate scoreline after they drew 0-0 in Dumfries. Annan 1, Elgin 1. It's Annan with a 5-3 aggregate lead. East Fife 1, Edinburgh City 0, so 1-1 on aggregate. That's back in the balance. East Kilbride 1, Bonnyrigg 1 in the Pyramid playoff final first leg. The other ones in the Championship League 1 playoffs are at the semi-final stage. Of course, we saw Partick Thistle move through to the Premiership playoff semis with that late show at Somerset last night against Ayr United. They'll face Livingston on Tuesday night in the first leg at Firhill, live in the BBC Scotland TV channel. As it stands, it's Ross County who will be Premiership Team 11. Still lots to play for though. Celtic have been behind today, yet they are winning the game, and they're coming forward again. Ralston too high for Maida at the back post. Hibs cannot afford to concede again here.
No.
Last few seconds of the stoppage time, as Taylor finds Maida level with the edge of the D and goes back to Scales.
Yeah, it's a classic example. If you put 3 defenders in there, nobody takes responsibility, you know, for one striker.
We're at the halfway point. Hibs led through Boyle, but Celtic have turned it round. Kuhn and Ida have scored to ensure the champions go in front at the break. It is Celtic 2, Hibernian 1.
I'm not one on for a while. What will his mood be come the full-time whistle this afternoon? Also, a Kilmarnock fan, his thoughts on Derek McInnes. Is it a right time for the parting of the ways if he does go? Who do Killie fans want to see replace him at Rugby Park? We'll also hear from a Hibs fan later in the programme, a Dundee United fan and St Mirren fan. That's a huge game for both these clubs this afternoon. Advantage St Mirren at half-time. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1. Michael Mandron with that goal in 31 minutes. Willie Miller's there for us. He's telling us that Saints well worthy of their advantage. You have 1,300 supporters up there for St Mirren, believing that they can get another European experience. Of course, we had many in the programme this season telling us memories created for a lifetime there. So can they get there again? They've given themselves a fighting chance. So all the reaction to come on Sports From. We'll get the half-time reports. Stay with us right here on BBC Radio Scotland.
This is Open All Mics
From BBC Radio Scotland.
You're listening to Open All Mics on BBC Radio Scotland. A really frantic end to the halves there right across the country in the sunshine. Some huge goals. We'll get all the details for you. Our commentary option this afternoon comes from the game at Celtic Park. Celtic at home to Hibs. That first half has been absolutely fantastic. Let's hear from Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
It has been a good game, that's for sure. And there's been a couple of sliding doors moments in it as well when it comes to Hibernian, who led this match thanks to Martin Boyle's 18th goal of the season. He took it very well. So it broke to him just outside the 6-yard box, placing it low into the bottom right corner to give Hibs the lead. Celtic had dominated the ball as you would expect them to do, but Boyle had previously missed a glorious opportunity. Great save by Kasper Schmeichel, made himself big, prevented Boyle from scoring. Had he gone low, he would have probably managed to find the net with that one as well. But Hibs led 1-0, they were defending pretty well. That wasn't until the final 5 minutes of the first half as Celtic scored twice in the space of 3 or 4, with Nicholas Kuhn getting in behind, rounding Jordan Smith and calmly rolling it home from a tight angle into the bottom left corner, which Ida did as well. Just a few minutes later, this time Kuhn was the set-up man, little dink forward into the box. Ida finished beautifully from the right-hand side of the 6-yard area. But that all came in the move, the counter-attack forward from Celtic after Martin Boyle found himself at the left angle of the Celtic 6-yard box. He went to turn Scales. He did the hard bit, but he slipped just as he was about to think about his shot. Celtic went up the pitch and scored their second to go 2-1 up. Classic Celtic here. When they have been asked questions, and they have been by Hibs at times this season inside this stadium, and by others as well, if you don't take your chances, they're going to make you suffer. And the timing of the goal as well, particularly that second one, is very sore for Hibs to take as they try and chase that third place down.
No, absolutely, Liam, and you've described it really, really well. But if you cannot track players, you cannot defend that space behind, Celtic will punish you. And that's been the story of the game today. They've had chances, they've got their goals, it's just balls played in behind. You know, from that perspective, you know, Adam Meader had about 3 chances. Balls flashed across the goal also. It couldn't get on the end of it. But ultimately, that has been the story. All that threat up front from Hibs is undone by poor defending, I've got to say. Celtic happy with lots of possession and getting their goals after being a goal down.
Yeah, it's been more than 15 years since they won here. The 27th of January 2010, the last time Hibs won at Celtic Park. They're still in the game, but they've now found themselves in a hole. Half-time, Celtic 2, Hibernian 1.
Thanks to Liam and to Pat. Full second half commentary to come from Celtic Park. Let's get to the game at Tannadice. Another biggie this afternoon. Dundee United at home to St Mirren. Let's get the half-time report from Willie Miller.
Yeah, Kenny, huge game here, so important. But it looks more important, to be perfectly honest, to St Mirren than it does to Dundee United. St Mirren right from the kick-off took the game to Dundee United. Dundee United have really struggled. Their two centre-backs have struggled against Ayunga and Mandron. The physical presence that they have up there. Not a great deal of opportunities, but most of them, the real chances fell to St Mirren in this first half. Mandron had an effort just outside the box with the left foot. Seems to be able to get his head up and create time for himself. Left foot, tries to curl it towards the back post, and agonisingly it slips past. Aduwu had a real chance down the left hand side again and drilled it, but unfortunately for him it was outside of the side net. He caught, and Ayunga had another strike that was well saved, but the goal that mattered came in 31 minutes, and it was well worked. It was really Killian Phillips that made it. Lost cost chase towards the corner flag down the right hand side, wins possession, plays it into Ali Biosu, who then wins the physical battle with the centre back and lays it off to Mandron. And like his effort earlier, he gets his head up, he looks towards the left hand side of the goal, and he curls it in with that left foot. For Dundee United, Dalby's been the biggest threat. 2 headers he's had. You're expecting him to hit the target with both of them, but he puts them over the top. And then Will Ferry has had a strike from an angle, but not enough for the home side. You know, I think the home fans will be very disappointed with that first half performance. For Stephen Robinson, then it's just another really positive performance at half time. It's 1-0 to the visitors here in Dundee.
Thank you to Willie Miller. Next stop, Tynecastle. Hearts at home to Motherwell. Let's get the latest from Alan Preston.
Half-time score, Hearts 1, Motherwell. Now, it's been a decent game, Kenny. Really good free kick early on. Touched the Slattery. He let fly from 25 yards. Ball just clipped the top of the bar. Then Hearts scored in the 30th minute, and it was a debutant, Ryan Fulton, the goalkeeper. A long ball. O'Donnell seemed to lose the flight of the ball. Falls to Lawrence Shankland, takes one touch off his shoulder by the looks of it. Let's fly from 22 yards in the bottom corner. Motherwell thought they'd equalise in 39 minutes. A free kick played, headed into the path of Slattery. Again, a brilliant half volley into the back of the net that the referee has asked to go over and look at his screen, because one of the Motherwell players, Casey, was in the eye line of the keeper as he jumps and puts the keeper off. So that goal was ruled out. Penrice nearly scored with a free kick late on in the game. We had 7 added on minutes. It's been a decent 52 minutes here at Tynecastle with a half-time score. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0.
Thank you to Alan Preston. Next stop, Rugby Park. Chick Young is there for us watching Kilmarnock against Dundee.
Yeah, and as we stand, Kilmarnock have found salvation in terms of avoiding the relegation playoff spot. They are ahead by 1-0 against Dundee, who sink deeper into trouble at the bottom of the league. The goal came after 31 minutes. A penalty kick, brilliant penalty actually, from Danny Armstrong. Rifled it, no messing about, into the roof of the net. It come after a push inside the box. At first I wasn't so sure. I've seen it again. I think the referee, who is Don Robertson, got that one absolutely correct. It hasn't been a classic. Dundee have played some sweet football at times. They've knocked it about. They've kept possession, but they haven't really troubled O'Hara in the Kilmarnock goal too much, to be honest with you. Kilmarnock at times have touched good football as well. It's still on a knife edge, but I do feel I really don't see Dundee getting a couple of goals in this second half to put Kilmarnock to the sword and deny them at least a point in this game. Kilmarnock ahead by that Danny Armstrong penalty after 31 minutes in the glorious sunshine in Ayrshire. And as I said, salvation beckons for them in terms of another season in the Premier League. And the question is, Kenny, will David McInnes be the manager? Stay tuned to this network.
Yeah, he's promised Chick an interview post-match, so that's the latest from Chick Young down at Rugby Park. There is all sorts of jeopardy around the game in Perth. St Johnstone at home to Ross County. Let's hear from John Robertson.
And we're 45 minutes in, and we're no nearer to knowing who is going to be in trouble after this game, if indeed both. And really, St Johnstone will be kicking themselves because they've missed 2 glaring opportunities after 5 minutes. Brilliant play down the left between Douglas and McPake. Set up Sidibe 12 yards out, goal gaping, and he had a fresh air. Completely missed it. In the 27th minute, that same combination again, Douglas to McPake, threw the ball to the back post. Cam Curtis came in and smashed it past the post from an unbelievable thing. But it looked okay, because in the 31st minute, with the first corner of the game, the ball was whipped in, and Valdonis got up and his header looped over him. He saw it hit the bar, bounced over the line, and St Johnstone were happy. Up until that point, Ross County hadn't laid a glove on them. There was a low shot from Phillips from about 30 yards. It trundled into Fisher's hand, and then Alex Samuel shot well over from 30 yards, but out of the blue they got an equaliser. Good play from Phillips down the right. He smashed it across goal. There was Alex Samuel to knock the ball into the net and leave us at the status quo at half-time. We're no nearer knowing what fate lies, but St Johnstone may rue those 2 massive chances at half-time here in Perth. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1.
Thanks to John Robertson. We're at 2 games in the playoffs this afternoon. Let's get to the Championship playoff semi-final second leg. Airdrie at home to Stenhousemuir. Let's get the latest from Gully Singh.
Yes, Kenny, Airdrie 1, Stenhouse Muir 0. The second half's just underway, but it was Adam Frizzell. He had an early effort in the first half from 25 yards out, which went wide. Stenny captain Gregor Buchanan's attempted curling effort from the result of a corner. That was the only decent chance for the visitors. Ben Wilson could have opened the scoring shortly after that. Mockery then squared it to Dylan McDonald. Chris Mockery, of course, he tried picking out the top right-hand corner. Darren Jameson in goal for Stenhouse Muir makes the save. Possibly sees it late, does really well. The opening goal then arrived on 39 minutes. The resistance finally broken. A corner set to the back post. Alex Bannon left unchallenged. He was able just to nod it home for the opener and put the tie to bed. Lewis Stratt went close with a thunderous effort. Jameson again, another excellent save just before half time, but he is currently 1-0 to Airdrie over Stenhouse Muir and 4-1 on aggregate.
Thanks to Gully Singh, it looks very much like an Airdrie against Cove Rangers final there. So Airdrie cruising, as Gully said. Cove Rangers, it was goalless in the first leg away at Queen of the South. Cove at home this afternoon, they've just gone 2-0 up in that tie. So that's the latest on the Championship playoffs. If we look at League One playoffs, Annan Athletic 1, Elgin City 1, so that's 5-3 to Annan on aggregate. And just started the second half on the day, East Fife 1, Edinburgh City 0, that's 1 apiece on aggregate. Now there's a huge game, it's a League 2 playoff final. First leg, East Kilbride at home to Bonnyrigg Rose. Let's get the latest from Derek Ferguson.
Yeah, we're also into the second half, Kenny. It's East Kilbride 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 1. What a start it was for the home side. Couple of minutes in, and it was Cameron Elliott with the looking header, a lovely header over the stranded keeper from about 10 yards out. Against the run of play, Bonnyrigg equalised in 16 minutes. A cute finish from ex-EK player Aaron Arnott, finding the net from 12 yards out. East Kilbride, for most part, Kenny, have dominated without creating too many chances against a Bonnyrigg side that are quite happy to sit in and hit on the break, but they could have actually made it 2-1 with goal scorer Arnott nearly pulling a 20-yard free kick into the top corner, but a terrific save from Truesdale in goal. So 1-1 at the moment, all to play for Kenny.
Thanks to Derek Ferguson. We'll find out a bit more about East Kilbride later in the programme. We'll be joined by a fan of theirs. Lots of fans joining us between 5:30 and 7 o'clock. We're on the telly today, BBC One, from 4:30 until 5:20 on the radio, right through until 7 o'clock as usual. So in the top flight this afternoon, we gave these games the big build-up, so much at stake. Half-time scores: Hearts 1, Motherwell 0, Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0, St Johnstone 1, Ross County 1, Celtic 2, Hibs 1, Dundee United 0, St Mirren 1. Tomorrow, full coverage on Sports and Rangers at home to Aberdeen. So let's have a look at the live table as things stand right now. Hibs, third spot, 56 points. Aberdeen, they play tomorrow, 53 points. Dundee United, 50. St Mirren, they've taken a big gain this afternoon as things stand, 48 points. They are at home to Hibs midweek. Dundee United are away at Rangers. Into the bottom half, Hearts say 46 points, Motherwell 45, Kilmarnock 44 points. No worries for these sides as things stand. Dundee very much have a lot to worry about, 37 points, Ross County 36, St Johnstone 30. Leanne, just as we look at the table there, as John Robertson was saying, it's so tight at the bottom. St Johnstone will still have a chance if it remains a draw this afternoon to try and reach that playoff spot, but you'd have to say it looks highly unlikely. They've got to push for all 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that at the start of today. They've got to go and get after it, and to be fair, there's been flashes, there's been moments. I know at points Robbo said there's maybe not been too much going on, not an awful lot created at certain points in the game, but actually a few moves in the way St Johnstone have moved it and looked to try and play in the final third. There will be moments there for them. They got the goal, they've obviously been pegged back, but I think as the game goes on and when it is as edgy as this, Ross County, I think we spoke about it, I don't know if it was John had said earlier, I think County would take a playoff spot. I think they would accept their fate with that and probably have a belief that they could go and get out of it. I think as the game goes on, St Johnstone have the ability to throw absolutely everything at it.
It's going to be great, isn't it?
When it's sink or swim. So the last 15 minutes of the game should be all-out attack.
Can't wait. Time now for a choice of listening once again on Sports, and stick with us on BBC Sounds 92 to 95 FM for Open All Mics for full commentary of Celtic against Hibs. It's been a great game. Tuned to Radio Scotland Extra Digital and 810 Medium Wave, and both options are available online, bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder! What a goal! From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Welcome back from Celtic Park. Liam McLeod and Packy Bonner for the second half commentary of the match here. Celtic 2, Hibs 1. The Hibs players just making their way back out onto the pitch. There were those 2 VAR checks that took some time, and the injury to Jordan Smith as well. So almost 4:10, and we've not got the second half underway here. I'm still waiting for the Celtic players to make their way back out onto the pitch. Doesn't look like any changes for Hibs at the start of the second half either. Nice moment down there at half-time. Our old pal Murdo McLeod was out doing the half-time draw. His wife Mary was there too. As Malky Mackay comes back out to take a seat for the second half, but Packy's been through so much. As Murdo, I know he's got a book out, which I think is what he was trying to promote out there, but he's obviously held in such high regard at Celtic. But personally, he's been through so many battles over the years, in recent years.
Yeah, a real tough time for him, but he's still surviving, and listen, it's great to see him at the games, and you know, at this stage of his life now, he's enjoying watching the team play well, and I think he indicated that when he was talking on the pitch and that. But Murdo was such a dynamic player for us in the middle of the pitch, and you know, even through, he came just after I came to the club about a year or so afterwards, and he had that real good spell in the 80s when we were challenging Aberdeen, Dundee United. But he was a pivotal part of the team alongside Tommy and Paul McStay and those guys in that middle of the pitch.
And he went on to, of course, help Hibs win that League Cup in 1991 as well. Anyway, good to see him on his feet and out there addressing the Celtic supporters as the champions make their way back out onto the pitch for the second half, and they turn things around in the final 4 minutes of the regulation opening 45, thanks to those goals from Kuhn and Ida, wiping out Martin Boyle's lead that he'd given Hibs. I think Boyle has been the thorn in the side of Celtic this afternoon, and they'll feel and believe that he can get back into those positions in the second half. Hibs try and pick up what even would be a precious point if they were able to take a draw back along the M8 later this afternoon. Be happy enough with that from this position, I would have thought, but David Gray's team talk has gone from give me more of the same to we need a plan B now.
Yeah, well, that's it, and listen, Hibs are dangerous on the counter-attack, we know that, and Boyle playing up alongside Kukarevich up front, he'll find spaces now, but they have to defend better, they cannot afford, and Celtic will continue to try to play that ball in behind with the pace of Maeda, Adam Ida easily getting in, getting his goal, confidence high now, Kuhn on the other side. So that was the feature, and I would think that was continuing, and I'm sure that was the team talk at half-time from David Gray.
Yes, and here's Boyle as straight from kick-off, dancing into the Celtic box, right-hand side of it, as they go right to left in the green and purple change kit, and he wins the corner as well against Celtic in the green and white hoops, who are going left to right, unusually for them in the second half, shooting east towards the Lisbon line stand, and Hibs have the first corner of the second half. Over on that far side, and Martin Boyle is going to put an outswinger into the Celtic box here by the looks of things. He prepares to wind this up in front of the north stand in the northwest corner of the stadium, and Boyle whips it in, and there's a chance here for Kukarevich, who attacked it. There was perhaps just enough effect on him by the defender as it comes off the defender's head and behind for another corner, this time over on this near side. Kukarevich, who scored here earlier in the season, was in the League Cup meeting, and for a long time it was the only goal Kasper Schmeichel had conceded domestically.
Yeah, and it's Tony Ralston's given the job of marking him. He's a big man, he towers above Tony Ralston, and at that time I think he just couldn't get up to direct the ball down, and it was just almost came off the defender. In
swinger from Boyle this time towards the back post, a good one, and then another important header away by a Celtic player. And this time it's Ralston again actually. It's two really good bits of defending from him just in the two corners that came into the Celtic box there, as Hibs win a throw-in level with the Celtic penalty spot. They've begun the second half well, the Edinburgh team.
Yeah, and again, it was good defending, I've got to say, because he is outmatched physically, I think, from Kukarevich, but he stuck to his task and used any bit of strength he has up against him and got a decent header in. But this is, again, keeping this pressure on Celtic. Long throw coming up
from Jack Iredale over on the far side. Not much of a run-up between the bottom of the north stand and the touchline, and it comes though, and then Bushiri wins the header, and it's wide. Well, he's got his head in his hands, Rocky Bushiri, because that is an opportunity for him, and he's He scored his first ever Hibs goal against Aberdeen in the 3-3 draw. He's now up to 4, and he's not that far away from making it 5 there.
Yeah, it is one of those areas that Celtic really struggle at times. I don't think they've got enough real physical help guys in the team, but and a lot of them, Hatate and all that, just are doing the job by just standing beside people, but they can't win the ball in the air. That time Bashiri getting a header, and it was Kukarevich again at the back post, just eluded him, and if it was a little bit closer to him, I think he would have been tapping it into the back post.
Cove Rangers have gone 2-0 up on Queen of the South, just about.
Oh, great.
There's a chance for Kuhn, but Smith's going to get out there, so just about consign Queen of the South to another season in League One. Cove Rangers, Blair Ewell, who's a stalwart at the club, has made it Cove 2, Queen of the South 0, as it is an aggregate. Yeah, and Airdrie Onions 2-0 up there, now 4-1 up on Stenhousemuir on aggregate, so it's looking like Airdrie Onions against Cove Rangers for a place in the Championship next season. Here at Celtic Park, the home team 2-1 up. Hibs have started well in the second half.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to that Hatate pass there. The ball just comes to him, and right away he's looking to had a penetrating pass for the runner going in behind. Obviously the goalkeeper read it really well, but that was the feature of the first half. And again, Celtic, when they get the opportunity, will be playing that ball in behind.
Jack Iredale over the free kick, bends it in with the left foot into the box. Hibs player wins the head against Kukarevich, couldn't quite find Bashiri, and Schmeichel holds on to it. But from Brendan Rodgers' point of view, he's so disappointed that that's 3 set plays that have come into the Celtic box since half-time, and all 3 have been won by Hibs players.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is the Achilles heel for them. They just cannot make first contact in the ball. And if you don't make good first contact in the ball, then you're always under pressure and it can fall anywhere.
Engels fouled by Triantis on the halfway line, free kick to Celtic. McGregor takes it quickly infield to Hatate, scampers across the halfway line, away from Kukarevich, rolls it low out to Taylor, who goes back to McGregor. He plays it to his left for Scales. Scales with a low ball, looking for Hatate. Well, it should have been O'Hara, hasn't it? He's taken his eye off it for a moment, and Hatate's on it instead. Left-hand side of the box, Maida's early low ball in, away by Bashiri. Engels loses at the edge of the box. Now it's Josh Campbell, hacked to the ground by Engels. Free kick Hibs, 2-1 Celtic, just about on 50 minutes.
Yeah, again that ball played in behind. Here's a bit of fisticuffs.
Indeed. And it's Iredale, and is it Ida?
No, I think Ida was trying to break them up a little bit and keeping Iredale away from. As Kuhn, there was initially the aggressor in that one. I don't know what was something said or what was happening, but Kuhn reacted really strongly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't get away with anything these days, so it's not worth it. Yellow cards out, I would imagine. It's normally both of them that get booked, isn't it? So Kuhn and Iredale will both go into the book, presumably here.
I would assume so. As you say, you can't get away with all that nowadays. So both of them will be booked.
Obviously VAR can't intervene with yellows, as Kuhn and Iredale are both shown yellow cards, but if you do step over the red line, then you could find yourself picking up a sending off, which may have been missed by the on-field ref. But anyway, it just shows you that there's plenty riding on this match, and there's no red card check going on. They're happy with the yellows that Colin Stevens awarded there, so game on again. The ref's not finished his... Oh, he's not finished putting the card back in his pocket, so a little delay there. Eventually it will be a Hibs ball here, and it's going to be a drop ball, and it's Iredale who gets it, finds Bashiri. Bashiri has had quite the redemption arc in Hibs colours. Chris Cadden down the right with the long ball, there's too much on it for Boyle, who's behind for the goal kick. Schmeichel is over this. Here Brendan Rodgers before the game, if you missed it, says Schmeichel will play the 2 remaining home league matches today and against St Mirren here on Trophy Day next Saturday, and Uyami Sinisalo will come back in for the game at Pittodrie on Wednesday. So Maida picks up midway inside his own half, infield to McGregor, forward it comes to Hatate, turns it back to Trusty.
Just on that goalkeeping situation, at least now we know that Sinisalo can actually do the job when he comes into the team. and that injury to Schmeichel allowed that to happen. Before that, we didn't see him really, and we didn't know how he was going to do. So that's I suppose a bonus from a negative.
Yeah, he looked absolutely fine, didn't he? He's a good bit younger than Kasper Schmeichel as well.
Oh yeah, he's only a kid really from a goalkeeping perspective, but he looks the part, and we'll see what happens next year.
Celtic on the ball with Trusty, rolls it low out to Ralston on the near side, down the line for Kuhn in the Hibs half, first time back to Engels, looking for Ida. It might have been fractionally offside there, he was goal side of Bashiri. Ida's onto it, there is no flag, so the linesman's obviously happy with it. Here's Kuhn rolling it back to McGregor, and then McGregor finds Taylor to the left hand side, the left angle of the box for Maida, and then Hatate overhits it looking for Taylor, and goes behind for the goal kick to Hibs. Celtic 2, Hibs 1, 53 on the clock as St Johnstone go back ahead against Ross County. A game, if they lost, they would be officially relegated today. Is a game that they are winning against the side closest to them.
Fighting
Ross
for their
County
lives,
in a tailspin.
Yeah.
And Hibs playing it out from the back, just about get away with it. And it's nicked out to that right hand side. Infield to Josh Campbell. Haven't seen much of him in the game, in fairness. O'Hara, then back to Campbell, can't get on the ball. It's now with Taylor, who will try and turn away from Cadden. Cadden gets something on the ball, knocks it forward, but Scales is there to hook it over his head. Bouncing ball in the midfield, it's Triantis to Levitt. And then back into the centre circle for Iredale. Rolls it out towards Obita, well read though by Kuhn, who's onto it. Pushes it forward, but straight to Iredale. Finds Campbell.
He did all the hard work there, Kuhn, didn't he? And then he just sloppy with his pass and just gave it away to allow Hibs to pick up possession again, drive forward.
And that 2-1 Hibs win, of course, in Leith was one that created headlines for a good number of days and weeks afterwards, with the Alistair Johnston over the ball gate that went on for a good period of time after that match. That Hibs won 2-1. It was Maida who scored the...
I missed that match, Liam. I wasn't at it, but I seen and read the controversy.
Yeah, Maida scored in the game, but he also put the ball in the net for that one, which was ruled out as Engels picks up and goes back to Ralston. The reason it was controversial was because VAR overturned the on-field decision of goal. That's what made it controversial. As Hatate picks up, Brendan Rodgers was furious afterwards. Scales has it and knocks it forward to Hatate, just inside the Hibs half, scoops it forward, looking for Maida. Cadden trying to stay with him, but it's Maida who's on it, level with the penalty spot, turns it in field. It's now with Taylor from Engels. Taylor tried to work it back to Hatate, went in over the top of one of the Hibs players, 2 Hibs players down, and eventually it's the second one that draws the free kick as Triantis was upended.
Yeah, and it stopped maybe a counter-attack from Hibs, and that ball was played over the top eventually for Boyle to run onto, but the play was held up for the free kick, so they were a little bit frustrated with that, the Hibs.
Elliot Watt got that second St Johnstone goal. St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. The as it stands table would therefore have St Johnstone moving back to within 3 points of County. Slightly better goal difference as well, just to the tune of 1, but you never know how important that will be. Goes up the line from Trusty and out for a Hibs throw-in, level with the edge of the centre circle in the Celtic half. Triantis finds O'Hara inside his own half, out to Chris Cadden on the right-hand side. And down the right flank goes harmlessly out for a Celtic throw-in.
Yeah, it was a poor ball there from O'Hara. He just played it into a nice area. Kugarevich would have been onto it, and he just plays it out of play. Just frustrating that when you have a little bit of momentum going and you're getting on the ball.
Ollie McDonald is Elgin City 2-1 up on the day at Annan, but they trail 5-3 on aggregate in the League One playoff semi. Back with Jordan Smith in the 6-yard box. Low ball forwards, poor, and he's giving it straight to Taylor. It's fortunate it didn't go to a Celtic player closer to his goal. Taylor finds McGregor, back to Taylor, back to McGregor. Square ball for Ralston. Then out to Kuhn on this near side. Kuhn infield to Engels. Engels then to McGregor, then to Hatate. East Kilbride are 2-1 up on Bonnyrigg in the Pyramid Playoff final, first leg. There's McGregor, nice little touch there. Maida fires it across, goes through the fingers of Smith, breaks to Kuhn, to McGregor, to Engels, to Hatate. That is wonderful! It's a wonderful goal by Celtic, and Rio Hatate the pleasure of finishing it off. Superb one-touch play inside the Hibs box, and Hatate lashes it home. And Celtic, having trailed in this game, are having fun in the sun here in their first home match after securing the title. It is Celtic 3, Hibernian 1. It's a brilliant goal.
Brilliant finish, brilliant finish from Hatate. Quality, technique, composure, everything that you want to pick out from the player. But initially it came from that run in the game behind the defence from Maeda. He plays the ball across. I don't know what Jordan Smith and his defender, but the two of them almost clashed into each other, and Jordan Smith wasn't able to hold on to the ball, and when eventually then it broke and it was played into the path of Hatate, he takes it first time, bends it around the goalkeeper to make it 3-1. Difficult now for Hibs, you've got to say.
There's 3 or 4 passes, as the goal's confirmed, by the way. Hibs get the game back underway. There's 3 or 4 passes in the box, first time passes by Celtic players that eventually pop to Hatate. It's brilliant football, and that goal there will have Brendan Rodgers purring, because that's what he wants his team to be about.
Absolutely, and you know, it's the quality, the technique, the players having the ability, seeing the opportunity and composure, and all the things, and then but the clinical finish at the end of it, which is the key.
It is an 11th goal of the season for Hatate. Another one of those Celtic players in double figures for the campaign, and possible treble in many people's eyes, a probable treble with that Scottish Cup final against Aberdeen to come 2 weeks today. They progress in the Champions League, of course, as well, and they've added another 3 goals to their Premiership tally, which has taken them to 106, which is level with what they managed in Brendan Rodgers' first season of the club, in his first spell, the invincible season. So they've equalled that, and he wants to beat it, and there's no way they won't be beating it with the rest of this game and 2 more to go after this. They will be beating that record.
And he picks out little targets, doesn't he, for them to go after each time, and that keeps the players a little bit motivated. But they're all fighting for their place also in a cup final, because they want to be part of a treble winning team.
Yeah,
if they can win the treble, it'll be a remarkable another achievement for them. But you know, Aberdeen will have something to say about that, I'm sure. It'll be a great final.
Well, the one in 2017 was a great final. Celtic were big favourites going into that one. Not sure the Aberdeen team's at the same level as that one, but we shall see how it all goes. The Dons are at Ibrox tomorrow to face Rangers, and they'll be happy with the scoreline, because it keeps Hibs within 3 points, unless Hibs can turn this back round in their favour. This afternoon they've gone beyond Martin O'Neill's team in 03-04 that scored 105. They've equalled the Rodgers invincible one from 2016-17 on 106. The record's 111 set by Jock Stein's European Cup winners in 66-67. So that's within sight now as well. Here's Maida on the left-hand side, tries to pull it across, it breaks to Taylor, to the edge of the area for Engels. Hibs trying to defend for their lives here, because this game could get away from them very quickly. Hearts have gone 2-0 up against Motherwell, incidentally, in the bottom 6, and Shanklin again, just in time for his contract elapsing. As Ralston picks up level with the Hibs 18-yard line and rolls it back to Trusty, and now it's with McGregor, who finds Taylor.
But it was never in doubt with Shanklin, was it, that he scores goals?
He still had too many opportunities, didn't he? He used too many shots at goal for him not, you know. I know he's gone off the boil, he's not finding the net, he's not at the level of last season, but he's still finding himself in those positions.
Yeah, and interestingly, I think they've pushed him higher up the pitch now, haven't they? Again.
Makes sense.
Yeah, always thought that was a...
Any player in the Premiership that scores over 30 goals in the season, out with the big Glasgow 2, is doing something right, and that's Shanklin last season. Here's Ralston, rolls it across, Ida with a touch on the turn, Ida looking for sight of goal, fires it high and wide, and it will stay Celtic 3, Hibs 1 on 62 minutes.
Yeah, got across the defender well, just his control just let him down a little bit, but he had Maeda just coming into his sights, and a little lay off to him was a better option, and I think Maeda would have easily then hit the target. He was just falling back at Maeda and just scooped it high and wide of the right hand post. But again, Celtic back in the rhythm, back making chances again, and Hibs just heads down a little bit now after losing that third goal.
3-0 to Hearts. Alan Forrest has added another one a couple of minutes after Shanklin. Here come Hibs down the right hand side, the ball's whipped in, it's cleared by Trusty Scales, prevented the corner, and then he shimmies away from Kukarevich. Outstanding again from Scales.
Wait a minute, I know
Celtic get it away. And here, sorry, I'll let you back in. Here's Triantis though, up to the edge of the Celtic box. Hibs need the next goal. Abita drives for goal, and it's saved by Schmeichel at his near post, and it stays Celtic 3, Hibs 1.
I know that you're a neutral supporter of teams, but you come from Aberdeen. Did you ever think Liam Scales would be performing in a Celtic team as good as this and doing so well after his time there?
Neutral when it comes to working and being professional, Packy, which is what I try to be. He struggled the first half of the season, but so did lots at Aberdeen. Jim Goodwin was in charge, and he had a tough time of it. But when they brought in Angus MacDonald, Matty Pollock, he was very good the second half of the season as Aberdeen usurped Hearts for third. That campaign, it did him the world of good. Here's Kuhn though for Celtic. Ralston pulling it back, looking for Ida, and it's blocked by Chris Cadden, and out it goes for a throw-in on this near side. There's going to be a change here with Nicky Cadden coming on for Boyle.
Sure.
And Junior Hoylett's coming on as well for Kukarevich. In fact, there's three. It's like they're coming out of the rabbit's hat there, and it's going to be Boyle coming off, Nicky Cadden on. They're going to take off Iredale by the looks of it, and on comes Kieran Bowie, and Junior Hoylett comes on, and Kukarevich off. So, Packy.
Yeah, Iredale has been booked, hasn't he? You know, he doesn't want to get him into any problems going with the other games coming up, which is critical games for them. But no, I was going to say about Scales, I think he's done remarkably well, and the consistency of him and the way that he's developed in the Celtic team and developed since he's come back. He was nearly out the door.
He's nearly gone back to Aberdeen.
Yeah, which is incredible, you know. So again, his performance here today, very, very good, especially on the ball.
He got his chance because Mike Nawrocki was injured, and Lager Bilka as well has struggled at the start. That's why he got his opportunity at the start of last season. Liam Scales, he came into the first derby of the season against Rangers at Ibrox, and he performed brilliantly. He's not looked back there, and he's had to respond to Austin Trusty taking his place at times this season, and he's responded to that. Jonah Ayunga has made it 2-0 St Mirren at Tannadice. That's doing their hopes of European football for a second successive season, bearing in mind they were 38 years without, the world of good. It will take them back to within 2 points of United with 2 games to play. There's Nicky Cadden, who's just on, fabulous ball in, but Kieran Bowie couldn't get onto it, and it just sails away from him and out for a throw-in over on the reverse side.
Brilliant, Paul, really good. And the first thing in his mind, as soon as he picked it up on the left-hand side, just took one touch and whipped it across that penalty spot. Little bit of height on him, and Bowie coming in should have probably done better because he had obviously taken Scales out of, well, that cross took him out of play, and Bowie had the opportunity to go and attack the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we're right behind it, which maybe makes it look better, but that looks like one of the balls of the season, Nicky Cadden, and he's been putting them in plenty since arriving at the club. He was injured here in the Scottish Cup tie, and he struggled to get past Jordan Abita. He's moved into the back three for Hibs now. The Cadden twins and the wing backs. Here comes Celtic again. That's an important block there by O'Hara, because that was coming through to Ida. As Abita mops up, goes back to Smith, he clears it first time with the left foot. 66 on the clock, 3-1 to the champions. Are coming forward again with Hatate. Hatate looked ahead of him, his 2 options were both offside, so by the time he stopped to think about what he was going to do, Hibs win it back, and now it's with Josh Campbell on the halfway line. He's got it through to Kieran Bowie. He's trying to free himself of a couple of defenders, holds off one, rolls it here, left hand side of the box. It's with Hoylett to shoot straight at Schmeichel, who holds on, and it stays Celtic 3, Hibs 1 as we move towards the final quarter of the match.
Yeah, listen, Hibs aren't giving up. They've made the changes. and look a little bit more freshness up front, and that was a good opportunity for Hoylett coming on this side. He obviously goes for power and tries to play it through the defender, maybe just a little bit more dropping the shoulder, creating the space. Might have been better, but he hits it straight at Schmeichel, who holds on.
You're listening to Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland, 810 medium wave on Extra, on digital, online at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. Open all mics continuing on FM and on sounds, as Celtic, who lead 3-1, come forward again in the attacking third, left hand side of the box, low ball across by Maida, cut out by Bushiri. Went a bit too long on that with Ida closing in, but it eventually falls back at the right foot of Jordan Smith, who clears first time with the right foot. Hibs get the next goal, then it's game on again.
Yeah.
But Celtic score again, and that's it.
Yeah, that third goal though gives you that little bit of breathing space. But you know, that's 2 goals. You're right, and it's always one of those situations. Depends who scores the next goal, and if it comes, gives Hibs a chance. And I think that's why David Gray's just freshened things up in midfield and up front.
Free kick there for Hibs. Foul on Bowie by Taylor, right of the centre circle inside the Hibs half. It's one of those strange football cliches that a 2-goal lead is a strange lead.
It's a strange one.
It's a good lead if the previous lead was 1-0.
Yeah, it's a psychological.
2-0 rather than 1-0.
It's a psychological thing, isn't it? I'd rather have 2-goal lead than
exactly
have nothing.
Obita over this free kick for Hibs, who, given what St Mirren are doing, are going to be in for a tough match on Wednesday night in Paisley. Saints will have plenty riding on that, given they're 2-0 up at Dundee United today. European football's a carrot. Long free kick from Obita, headed away by Scales, only as far as Nicky Cadden. It's the overlap there from Campbell. Campbell, first time ball, is way too deep by the looks of things. Bushiri will try and keep it alive out by the corner flag. He has done that. Rolls it back to Chris Cadden, controls with the undersole, crosses in, headed away by Trusty. Comes off Campbell's knee. It's done well though. A little bit unorthodox, but it's worked. He's found Nicky Cadden. Level with the Celtic penalty spot, drops the shoulder, gets down to the byline and wins the corner off Anthony Ralston. Celtic 3, Hibs 1.
Yeah, again keeping the pressure on. Set piece from Celtic. They've got plenty of height in the team still. Hibs probably increase that with Kieran Bowie coming on, and young man who'll work his socks off.
Yeah, he could be a really good signing. Queen of the South have pulled one back against Cove Rangers, incidentally. We'll go through the scorelines in a moment. Nicky Cadden with the corner, comes off Bushiri's head. He was just moving backwards really there, so it was a difficult one for him to take. If he's a yard further back, he's just planting the header into the net potentially. Stays 3-1 Celtic.
He just took it off. I think it was Tarantis who was just coming onto it, and he just was going back. He had no chance of maybe getting it on target, and if he had let it go, I think it was a better chance for the midfielder to come onto it.
Right, 3-1 Celtic here against Hibs. And the other match in the top 6, which is a good bit ahead of us actually, but 8 minutes ahead. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2. Bottom 6, Hearts 3, Motherwell 0, Kilmarnock 1, Dundee 0, St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. The Championship playoff semi-final second legs, Airdrieonians 2, Stenhousemuir 1. Airdrie 5-2 up on aggregate. Cove Rangers 2, Queen of the South 1. As I said, Kai Kennedy's pulled one back for the Doonhamers, who are not done yet. They are just about 10 minutes away from another season in the third tier. The League One playoff semi-second legs. Annan 1, Elgin City 2. Annan's lead on aggregate is now just the 1 goal. So Elgin pushing to try and take that to extra time. East Fife 3, Edinburgh City 1 now. Goals from McKenna and Troughton, who's still at it in the second half, have turned that in the Fifers' favour. And in the Pyramid playoff final first leg, this is the final stage of this one, East Kilbride 3, Bonnyrigg 1. Here come Hibs, or Celtic rather. Hibs trying to do some defending here with Nicky Cadden. Clears it up the line to Campbell, level with his own penalty spot, goes back to Obita, who fires it high up towards the halfway line. Celtic waiting to bring Forrest and Bernardo on as Bowie's fouled by Scales. Combination of Scales and Taylor. That might have been Taylor. No, it was Scales who's yellow carded. A couple of bookings for Celtic. They are the least booked team in the Premiership this season by quite some distance, but they've picked up a couple today. Liam Scales joining Nicolas Kuhn in the book.
I'm surprised at that they would have they would at least, obviously they moved the ball, they've lost control of the ball. They don't
Well, that's 33 bookings they're up to this season, 33 in almost 36 matches. The other end of the booking table are Aberdeen, who have picked up 84. Forrest on, Kuhn off. Yeah, I guess it stands to reason. If you're not tackling as much, then you're not going to be fouling as much.
That's it. That's exactly the theory behind that stat.
Dwight Gale coming on for Hibs. As I said, Forrest on for Kuhn. Bernardo's going to replace McGregor. Brendan Rodgers giving Callum McGregor a little bit of a rest.
Yeah, and I think Bernardo's the only one of that midfield I think they will put back into his position and play it. He's been tried out there before a few times, so that just gives McGregor a little bit of a rest. But James Forrest on, trying to get that elusive goal, isn't he, again? Another opportunity for him. Obviously, Hibs making the changes, going for it now. Gale coming on, very experienced.
He's on for Campbell. Dundee level, by the way. That could be a massive goal at Kilmarnock. Killie 1, Dundee 1. Closing stages of that. Obita with the free kick, fired with the left foot to the right-hand side of the box when it's headed clear. Hibs looking to try and get a foothold back in this game. Levitt with the cross this time, headed away by Scales. Only as far as Hoylett. Wonderful touch. He's always had that. The Canadian out to this left-hand side for Nicky Cadden, looking to get to the byline. Comes Forrest. Comes off Forrest and back off Nicky Cadden. Behind for a goal kick to Celtic, which Schmeichel will take now. Played almost 73.5 minutes. Celtic's first home game since collecting their latest title. They will be odds on to win it again next season. And probably the season after that, and the one after that. Scales knocks it along his own 18-yard line here for Trusty. Low ball forward to Engels, who goes back to Trusty. How would you rate Arne Engels' first season at Celtic, Packy?
Yeah, I think settling in would be the word I would get. I think he's got all the qualities. He's just learning how to play in a team that dominates the game at times, but when it comes to those maybe crunch times against the bigger teams, can he then step up and just be the difference? He's got great qualities, good passer of the ball, makes good runs, and set pieces. He's got that quality also. Fires in a great ball. So all of those good things for a young player is evident.
Scales for Maida, looked onside to me, picks it up left-hand side of the box, pulls it back towards Forrest. He's not going to get there. It's away by Nicky Cadden. Flag has gone up, so shows you what I know. I'll just stick to telling you what's happening. Celtic 3, Hibs 1. We're approaching the final 15 minutes of it. Well, Sports Scene highlights tonight as well, with coverage of all 5 Premiership matches taking place today. And don't forget, Sports Sound will be live at Ibrox, high noon kickoff. Rangers against Aberdeen tomorrow.
I was going to say he had to be offside because he was so far beyond everybody, and also nobody running with him or tracking him.
You just never know with him, though, do you?
No, you never know. That's the question.
It is Jordan Smith dinking it out to Nicky Cadden on the near side. Heads it up towards the halfway line. Trusty beats Gale in the jump, and his header goes straight to Obita, but there's a head knock for Gale in the challenge with Trusty, so the referee stops play.
Yeah, he's just caught him as he's gone up. Trusty, and he leaped really high in the air, and his trailing hand just caught Gale on the face, and the referee is right to stop it. Any head injury, you've got to stop and then check with the player, and he's back on his feet. He's okay.
There is normally goals in this fixture. They tend to average around about 3 per game. There's been 4 today. It is just 2 wins and 26 for Hibs coming into this one. Both of those at Easter Road. One of them was at the tail end of the season before last, the day Maida was sent off. And then, of course, the Campbell double this season. Ross County have levelled again at McDermott Park. St Johnstone 2, Ross County 2, and Ronan Hale has scored it. There's a yellow card out again. O'Hara was booked a moment or two ago. I think that's Bushiri who's going to pick up this one.
There's excitement round Scotland and some of them games, Liam.
That's Chris Cadden who was booked there. Yeah, there's been a lot of seesawing going on, isn't there, this afternoon? A draw is not really enough for St Johnstone, you feel. And Don Cowie would quite happily, given they've been behind twice today, get back up the A9 from the Fair City with a point. It's now 3-0 St Mirren at Tannadice. Dundee United have completely fallen off a cliff.
But I'll tell you, St Mirren have done well. They've done well to get into the top 6, but this time when they're in, they've competed really, really well.
They have. Draw with Rangers, beat Aberdeen, and they're going to win away at Dundee United. Excellent return. Here is Maida wide on the left. He's going to get the overlap from Taylor. He's not going to find him though. Chris Cadden gets there first, down by his own corner flag over on the far side, and he gets it clear and out for a Celtic throw-in over on the far side. 13 of the 90 minutes still to play. Celtic 3, Hibs 1. Celtic back in a period of cruise control, Packy.
Yeah, they're controlling the game now again. They're just, the game's ebbed and flowed a little bit at times. You know, Hibs started off that second half really well, then Celtic get their goal, and it just knocked, and then they come back with a little bit of energy once they've made the changes. But Celtic again now back in control of the game, knocking the ball around, and you know, you've got to, when you're on top, you've got to try to capitalise on something, and if it doesn't come, then you just, the energy goes, and especially when you're 3-1 down from Hibs' perspective. So Celtic in cruise control at the moment.
Bigger picture for Hibs is they're still in pole position for third spot. This would just be a second league defeat of the calendar year, indeed since November, so they've still come on leaps and bounds. Unfortunately for them, 3 of their defeats since November have come here, this stadium, December Scottish Cup, and assuming they don't come back in this one today.
Yeah, big game, and tomorrow Rangers and...
Oh, I mean, they're obviously going to be hoping for a Rangers win in that one, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's going to be a big
that
game
just
for
cancels
Aberdeen.
this out. Certainly extra incentive for Aberdeen to do something. Engels with the free kick. He does there! Tacks it over the bar, but offside. Stays Celtic 3, Hibs 1.
Yeah, this time we'll give a little bit of credit to Hibs for holding their line and holding it for long enough to allow Celtic players to run offside.
Feels like a long time ago Hibs led this game of football. Nicky Cadden giving chase to a long ball down the left-hand side. Thumbs up, but it's gone out of play for a throw-in, and both teams are going to make changes here. First up for Celtic will be Kenny on for Ida, Packy.
Yeah, listen, I thought he may have started Johnny Kenny today, just so he gets a chance to maybe come off, or you know, coming off the bench is never easy for the young man. He's had a few of those cameos this year already, but listen, you know, he's in the squad. He's in. I don't know. I think the subs. Am I right in saying that there's a less sub for the cup final? Also, was that the case compared to the league? I think there's one less because Brendan Rodgers was given out about that in the last end, that he couldn't put Johnny Kenny on the bench.
Sorry, Pat, need to catch up with the subs here. So Luke McCowan has come on for Hatate as well, and Hibs make the change with Dylan Levitt coming off, and Elsana Mane comes on. Anyway, some updates to come from the other games. Potentially most crucially is the fact that the Ross County second goal's been disallowed. Hale's one, he's offside, so it stays 2-1 St Johnstone. And the other one was St Mirren's third goal, so it stays 2-0 there at Tannadice. So still Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2, and St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. There, it's all happening at the same time. Kilmarnock have gone 2-1 up through Bruce Anderson against Dundee as well, after Lyle Cameron had briefly brought Dundee level. So there's just so much going on just now. There's been plenty going on here at Celtic Park this afternoon as well. So it's going to be some sports scene programme this evening, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel for that, repeated later tonight if you're off out for a nice bit of dinner, which I'm sure Packy will be. Will be a free kick for Hibs here Saturday night and all that.
I'm going to my sister-in-law's, should I say, 60th over the weekend, so there you go.
You didn't have to tell us, but you've told the nation who are listening to BBC Radio Scotland.
Give Lynn a little mention, 60 years old.
Good, yeah, happy birthday. Free kick Hibs here, Hoylett's left it, and it's Nicky Cadden who takes to the left foot, high and wide though. Real disappointment for Hibs because it's in a decent position, and it goes behind for the goal kick, and it will stay 3-1 to Celtic with 9 minutes to play. And now it's with Ralston, who will try and slip it through towards Johnny Kenny, who's so keen to get a goal, and he can't get onto that pass. It's right through to Smith, who holds on, and bowled out to Nicky Cadden on this near side, challenged by Ralston. Nicky Cadden trying to get back onto it, and then Ralston battles and pinches it back. Now it's Forrest, and now it's Kenny, on the touchline on this near side. Here's Engels, and now it's Forrest, right hand side of the box. His cross cut out by Obita, who slides it behind for a Celtic corner on this near side as the champions attack the goal to the right.
Yeah, the good thing about this game is kept going, and I know conditions, the sun's back out again. I went for a while there, but the energy has been kept up by both teams, which is good. I know a lot of subs have come on the pitch.
And in stoppage time in the playoff matches as well. Full round-up to come once we're done here. It's Engels with the corner, low to McCowan, gets the cross in, headed half away by Hibs. Comes off Alisada. Celtic help it away through McCowan.
Chance.
And now it's Hoylett for Hibs, looking to slip it through here for Bowie. Bowie right to the centre circle to Driantis. Couldn't return it to Bowie, just trickles its way through to Schmeichel. He was on to it.
Yeah, that was an opportunity, but I'm thinking Boyle on the pitch. That ball played through instead of through for Kieran. Bowie, he would have been sort of in his element running onto it and with his pace, but that Kieran doesn't have that sharpness or that pace maybe that Boyle has.
It's a shame for Kieran Bowie that he had that injury that kind of arrived at the start of his Hibs career, because we're beginning to see what he can offer this team, but only now. So he'll be keen to get as many minutes as he can before the summer break, but he'll be wanting to come out flying next season, and he'll be hoping, and they'll be hoping Celtic win the Scottish Cup if they finish third, because that would mean, well, they'll be hoping that Celtic win the Scottish Cup anyway, because that happens, the larger the prize for the league positions when it comes to European football. Celtic win the Scottish Cup, third place is guaranteed league phase football in the Conference League with a stab at the Europa League playoff. Such an incentive, one that we're not going to have in Scotland after next season because of the slide in the coefficient, but that's for the future. For next season, Hibs have an opportunity to be playing league phase European football for the first time.
Which is remarkable considering where they were at the start of this season. It would be a huge bonus for them.
Well, if you'd asked any Hibs supporter who trooped out to Dens Park in November if that was going to be a viable option for them, they would have laughed you out of the stadium. Bottom of the league, 4-1 defeat at Dens, albeit reduced to 10 men on the day. And for such a long time, Topatodri a couple of weeks ago, that was their most recent league defeat. Free kick Hibs here deep inside their own half. This game's kind of petering out now. 6 minutes of the 90 to play, and Celtic are going to make a change here, and young Sean McArdle is going to come on for his debut, the 17-year-old. Huge moment for the young midfielder, Packy.
Yeah, listen, it's good to see young players coming through the system and getting an opportunity. Not a lot of them get that opportunity.
It's something they're criticised for, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because they spent a lot of money on their youth academy, and you know, it's difficult for them to get the opportunity in a Celtic team that's competing. But when you get in there, you've got to make the most of it if you can. Just show the manager you've got something.
Here's McCowan looking for Forrest. Is he on or off? No flag right now. Forrest shoots and Smith tips it away behind for the corner. But the flag does go up, so it wouldn't have counted. Free kick Hibs rather than a Celtic corner. Yeah. Celtic 3, Hibs 1.
I think he knew he was offside too. You know, if he might have carried on a little extra couple of yards. If he didn't, he just knew. I think he was off. James Forrest. He's looking across the line. Just went too early.
Kieran Bowie on the right. It's away from a couple of Celtic players. It's back to Mane, who gets it through there, and Hibs chasing him behind here. Chris Cadden pulls it across, looking for Gale. It's brilliantly blocked by Trusty, who gets a slap in the back from his goalkeeper as reward.
Yeah, it was a good pass. Again, a penetrating pass, but there was a great opportunity to have maybe a pass also over here to Chris Cadden, who was in acres of space on his own.
Paolo Bernardo for Celtic, low ball along the deck, out to Ralston on the right, midway inside Hibs territory. Just 4 of the 90 left to play. So Ralston goes back to Trusty. The full-time whistles going elsewhere, a bit behind because of all the time added on at the end of the first half here. But it is 3-1 Celtic here, as we know. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 2 there in stoppage time. Hearts 3, Motherwell 0, Kilmarnock 2, Dundee 1, St Johnstone 2, Ross County 1. remains deep into stoppage time in that one. All over in the Championship playoff semi-final second legs. Airdrieonians have beaten Stenhousemuir 2-1 on the day and 5-2 in aggregate. They will face Cove Rangers in the final for a place in next season's Championship, because Cove beat Queen of the South 2-1 today. The League One playoffs, Annan 1, Elgin 2, remains 5-4 Annan on aggregate. Will they squeeze home? East Fife 3, Edinburgh City 0 on the day and 3-1 in aggregate. And East Kilbride in stoppage time are 3-1 up on Bonnyrigg, who are struggling, it seems, to retain their SPFL status going into the second leg of the final of that one. And now it is Forest for Celtic. I believe St Johnstone are 5 minutes into 10 minutes of stoppage time. That'll feel like 10 hours for the Saints fans and for Simo Valicari on the touchline.
There must have been a huge stoppage for that VAR decision.
It's all over at Tannadice. St Mirren have beaten Dundee United 2-0 to breathe new life into their European hopes, having beaten Aberdeen last week and held Rangers the week before. Story of the top six so far are St Mirren, as Bernardo rolls it back to Scales. See, about half the Celtic supporters are away by this point, looking to beat the traffic. Easier said than done if you're part round about this area. It is McCowan who rolls it to his left for Bernardo, and out to Kuhn on the left hand side, or sorry, Taylor on the left hand side. And then now with Trusty, he and Kuhn have the same hairdo, just why, even though Kuhn's not in the pitch anymore, I got confused. Here's Trusty, square right to left of the centre circle for Scales. And then out to Taylor again on the far side. This game's done though, Packy. We're 90 seconds and 90 minutes left. 3-1 Celtic.
Yeah, I think just they're desperate. I think James Forrest is on the ball just now, and some of the young players desperate to make their impact in the game.
Yeah, McArdle right on his near side. Bushiri nicks it off him though. Knocks it forward to Gail. Kilmarnock have gone 3-1 up against Dundee, and suddenly that 12th spot, which looked to be St Johnstone's, is now dragging Ross County and Dundee back into things, going with today's results. Long ball forward looking for Kenny is cut out there by O'Hara. Given away though, and Maida, still he runs, still he chases, still he harries right at the end, and he's managing to get it through for Kenny. Could be in here. Smith comes out and uses his feet to clear.
Yeah, listen, just again another example of guys in Maida and the work rate. Just a great example for the young players as he out there playing.
Yeah.
What?
Here's Gale up the other end in the Celtic box to Obita, goes to ground, challenged by Ralston, bounces straight back up, does Junior Hoylett. He's looking to take on Ralston, just rolls it out to the touchline for Nicky Cadden. Here is Hoylett again. It's away from McArdle, taking on Ralston, down to the byline again, goes Hoylett, plays it across, blocked by Ralston, breaks to Forrest, he finds young McArdle, gets it through to Kenny. Is it nicked off by Obita this time? Now it's Giantis. Lasana Mane then rolls it out to the right for Chris Cadden. The Hibs will have to reset quickly, Packy. They've got a massive game back across in the west, and Paisley, it's 3 minutes is confirmed at the end, and we're into the first of those 3 minutes now.
No, you're right. Listen, this game, they would work very hard to try to get something out of it. They lost bad goals, in my opinion. Defensively, it didn't do them any favours, but now they've got to pick themselves up again. Now they've got to go again. Now they've got to put that behind them, and they're in a great position to almost be create a little bit of history for themselves at that club, and getting into Europe is the goal, I think, of most players.
So Stenhousemuir and Queen of the South will have to play in League One again next season. More disappointing for Queens, I would have thought. Stenny having come up last season. Edinburgh City will be in League Two again next season, as will Elgin City as it stands there in stoppage time, trying to force Annan to extra time. 5-4 Annan on aggregate. They're deep into stoppage time in that one at Galabank. All over at Tannadice, a 2-0 win for St Mirren. It's an outstanding result for Stephen Robinson. Ralston sweeps it back to Schmeichel. He's taking his time over it. Played one and a half, just about half of the stoppage time. As I said a little while ago, it's petered out since probably about the 70-minute mark. Here comes Maida down the left. Celtic looking to finish with a flourish as they tend to do. It's with McCowan who shoots, blocked by Smith. And Bushiri will pick it up and clear. Ralston controls and rolls it back to Trusty on the halfway line. It's good play by Celtic, and Luke McCowan denied by Smith.
Yeah, just managing the game out, and if an opportunity arises, they will keep trying to create, but they're keeping the ball very well.
Forrest on the right angle of the box now of Hibs. Rolls it back to McCowan. He's looking for space to shoot. He does, blocked by Hoylett. It's going to go out of play over on the far side for a Hibs throw-in. Back off the Celtic man at last. We're in the final minute of the stoppages. Celtic 3, Hibs 1. You can hear in the background Hatate's been named the sponsors man of the match in-house.
Yeah, beautiful goal, wasn't it? That he tucked in beautifully for a sort of killer goal. You've got to say the third goal, and fantastic finish from a good bit of build-up play. So he's be happy with his day's work.
Dundee have pulled one back, 3-2 they trail at Rugby Park. You might remember those two were involved in 3-3 thrillers at Dens Park, where they took turns at chucking away big leads. Is that about to happen again? Dundee got another goal in them. They just pulled one back to make it 3-2, and they're deep into stoppage time there as well. This one is just about over. It's another win for Celtic. That is the final whistle. Rogers shakes hands with Gray down below us. Hibs led through Boyle as they look to try and all but confirm third spot this afternoon. But Kuhn and Ida turned it round before the break. Hatate scored for them again before the hour, and that is how it finished. Celtic 3.